What if your pet isn't staring at air, but reacting to something invisible in the room? Dogs barking at ghosts, and cats tracking invisible figures across the room, even touching spirits of their late owners. These real clips will prove animals sense what our eyes can't. One evening, a woman was waiting for her husband because her dog was acting very strangely. Its eyes looked red, and it kept staring at the wall. Even worse, its whole body was shaking, as if it was terrified of something that was not there. It barked, looked at her for a moment, then jumped onto the floor, but continued staring at that exact spot on the wall. Her husband had spotted a ghost in the house before, but she only believed him after seeing this. Terrifying cat. This video was shared by a woman living in Taos, New Mexico, USA, asking viewers what could have made her cat behave this way. She came home late after a long shift and found her cats acting strangely. One of them had knocked things over all around the kitchen and was now standing there, growling angrily, as if it was not acting like itself anymore. When she moved closer to pick it up, the cat flinched at her, as if warning her not to come any nearer or she would face the consequences. Invisible intruder. A man installed CCTV cameras to watch his dog while he was away. One night, he checked the recording and saw something shocking. Around midnight, the dog was resting peacefully. Suddenly, it stood up and stared at the window, as if something was getting closer. Then the curtain moved on its own, as an invisible thing had touched it. The dog ran toward the curtain, barking and trying to catch whatever it sensed. However, nothing unusual could be seen on the video. When he shared the clip online, it left people wondering, was it a ghost or a staged video? Midnight Watcher. On the 3rd of June, 2019, a bone-chilling moment was captured by a man in Leicester, England. He woke up at midnight to drink water and froze in fear. His black cat was standing on its hind legs beside the bed, eyes glowing in the dark, staring at something he could not see right beside him. It looked terrified, as if an unseen presence was sitting right next to him. When the cat realized its owner was awake, it slowly sat down, but its eyes never left that same empty spot. Cat seeing spirit. A man had to travel for one night, so he left his cats at home and watched them through a live camera. When he later checked the footage, he was shocked. One cat was standing upright, as if something had entered the room. The table next to it shook by itself. Another cat entered with glowing eyes, tracking a faint shadow, and the door closed on its own. Even the camera moved by itself. Terrified, he rushed home to protect his cats, but when he arrived, everything seemed completely normal. Evil influence. I have never seen a video of a dog acting this strangely, and I believe you haven't either. This video was filmed by a pet store owner in Santa Fe, New Mexico, USA, when he released a dog from its cage. The dog bared its front teeth, and its eyes were wide open, as if something had taken control of it. It began moving in a jerky way from left to right. The owner was stunned, because he had been in the pet business for 30 years and had never seen anything like it before. He became convinced that his dog was under the influence of something evil. Midnight dog vision.
Dogs are ready for bed. It's just a peaceful night here.
One Saturday night, a woman living in Marfa, Texas, USA, was recording a mini vlog to show how lazy her pet dogs were, but one of them proved her wrong. Suddenly, the dog stood up, and its tail rose in the air, as if it had sensed something supernatural, and it began staring into an empty corner. Even more mysteriously, it flinched, and the woman got spooked by its behavior and lowered her phone to see what it was looking at. But nothing looked out of place, and she became convinced that her dog was seeing something invisible.
The is that? What? Oh, God!
Invisible threat.
What are you doing?
A woman was spending her vacation at her farmhouse in Nobbinway, Michigan, USA, when one morning her dog began to act bizarre. The dog stood on the table and fixed its eyes on the view outside the window, as if it was trying to keep something away. The woman felt unsettled because she couldn't see anything outside, but her dog remained alert and growling, even staying on the table without breaking its stare. This made her believe that her farmhouse was no longer a safe place to stay.
Excuse me. Hey.
Terrified dog. A woman was relaxing on the couch after making lunch when her dog made her blood run cold. The dog was sitting on its back legs, staring at the wall. What made the scene even scarier was that its entire body was shaking while it looked intently toward a chair. When she asked the dog what it was seeing, it barked, as if trying to warn her they were being watched by a phantom.
Oh, what is it? You okay? Mama's here.
If you have any other explanation for why it was shaking, let me know in the comments section. Playing with Ghost. A woman set up a motion sensor camera in her bedroom because her cat had been acting strangely for 2 days. When she watched the video, she was shocked. The cat suddenly jumped off the bed as if it were chasing something moving around it, then jumped back on, then down again, and sat on the mat. Things got creepier when the bedsheet moved on its own, and the cat leapt back onto the bed as if playing with something invisible. Then the camera showed movement to the right, and the cat ran toward the window. After seeing this, she believed a ghost was teasing her cat. Dog spotted ghost.
Losing focus. Oh my God.
9 years ago in Sedona, Arizona, USA, a man was about to sleep when his dog began acting strangely, as if sensing something in the darkness. Curious, he grabbed his camera and followed the dog downstairs. The dog stared intensely into the dark, clearly focused on something the man could not see. He called out, urging whatever was there to reveal itself, but nothing appeared.
Can you walk up my steps? I want to capture you on video, spirits.
Moments later, the dog suddenly bolted toward the unseen presence, leaving the man terrified and convinced his pet sensed something impossible to human eyes. Dog seeing ghost. This video was shared by Valeria Brown, a YouTuber living in Reno, Nevada, USA, 12 years ago, when she was making breakfast in the kitchen and her dog suddenly began barking for no reason. No one else was in the house. The dog barked non-stop, as if it had picked up something strange. It moved toward the couch, then placed its front paws on the ottoman, as if someone was sitting there. It kept pacing around the TV lounge, clearly disturbed. Valeria didn't know if it was a ghost or something even more mysterious. What do you think it was? Vanishing witch. A woman living in Ashland, Oregon, USA, was fed up with her dog barking at night, so she set up a tripod in the hallway to see what was causing it. When she watched the recording, she was stunned. At around 2 a.m., the dog started barking again, this time at a frightening figure in white, with long black hair and a distorted face, resembling a witch. As the dog leapt toward it, the figure vanished as if it had never been there. After seeing this, she became convinced that her apartment was haunted and decided to move to a new place. Cat sensing demon. On the 11th of March, 2023, a man living in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, USA, was suddenly spooked by the strange behavior of his cat. It was sitting on the couch, staring at the ceiling without blinking even once, as if it was focused on something beyond view. Then it looked toward him, as if telling him that they were being watched by an invisible entity, before turning back and continuing to stare at whatever it was. Haunted ceiling. Recently, a man living in Galena, Illinois, USA, experienced something he never expected. He was on his way to the kitchen to get some water when his dog suddenly began staring at the ceiling and barking, as if it had seen something unsettling. He recorded the strange behavior, but couldn't spot anything unusual, no matter how long he looked, and was convinced the dog was seeing something otherworldly. Later, when he shared the video on Instagram, some viewers argued it was just the bright ceiling light that caused it to bark. Kitchen ghost. 2 years ago, in Bangalore, India, a woman woke up to her dog barking loudly. Worried, she went to see what was wrong. The dog sat on the floor, staring at the kitchen and barking non-stop, its tail moving from side to side as if something was right in front of it. She called out, asking anyone there to show up, and tried to calm her pet.
Easy. Leave it. Who's there?
Deep down, she believed it was the ghost people said haunted the house, and that this was why the rent of the house was so low. Cemetery soul. A man shared a video from a visit to his late father's grave in Hilo, Hawaii. He took his dog with him because the dog had been very close to his dad. As they neared the grave, the dog suddenly became alert, as if someone was already there waiting, though only tombstones were visible. The dog growled, like it was communicating with something. On their way back, the dog did the same thing again. After this, the man believed his dog was seeing his father's soul, which only animals can sense. Spirit is back. A man living in Corpus Christi, Texas, was casually reviewing his CCTV footage when something chilling appeared on the screen. His pet cat was walking toward the couch when, suddenly, it lurched backwards in terror, as if something had suddenly pulled it back. The frightened cat bolted to the corner, and its panic immediately alerted the other cats and the dog, who rushed after her. Moments later, a chair beside the table slid on its own. Watching this, the man became certain that the restless spirit had returned, and he decided to leave the apartment for good. Unseen presence. One Sunday in Bar Harbor, Maine, a man was resting on his couch and casually filming his cat. Suddenly, the cat slowly moved around the room, staring at one specific spot on the wall, as if something was fixed in that spot. Its tail swung, and its fur stood up, clear signs of fear. The cat sat down but kept watching that exact point. Then, without warning, it stood upright like it had seen a ghost and repeated this behavior. The man became scared and started believing his house might be haunted by evil spirits. Peculiar dog. This video is evidence that dogs may not only see invisible entities, but can also communicate with them. One evening, a man was lying on the couch with his dog, watching TV, when the dog suddenly stood up on the couch and began to let out low, whisper-like growls. It moved a little forward, as if it had seen something, even though nothing appeared. The dog stayed alert, fixed its gaze on one spot, and began to track something across the room with its eyes. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Cat alerted owner. A woman rented an Airbnb flat in St. Augustine, Florida, and was resting on the couch after moving in. She noticed her cat staring strangely at the window, as if it had noticed something outside. Curious, she started recording and pointed the camera toward the window. To her shock, a faint figure seemed to be peeking inside at them. When she went outside to check, no one was there. This made her think something sinister might be watching them, and her cat had warned her in time. Dog's invisible friend. 2 years ago in Salem, Massachusetts, USA, a man began sensing a strange presence in his house, so he installed CCTV cameras around. On one of the cameras, he captured a shocking moment. His dog was running toward a wall as if it were chasing something moving ahead of it, but it wasn't alone. A basket on the floor was also rolling, matching the dog's speed. The dog then turned left, and the basket changed direction on its own. After watching this video, the man became convinced that his dog might be playing with a ghost. Glowing-eyed figure. In Roswell, New Mexico, USA, a man was reviewing the CCTV footage of his TV lounge, which showed his pet dog sitting calmly when something creepy with thin legs, black hair, and glowing eyes appeared behind the window and tried to open the window lock. The dog immediately became alert and barked at it. Later, the man checked the area around his house, but could not find a single footprint. So he began to suspect that it might have been a ghost that had haunted this town for years. Haunting morning. One morning in Key West, Florida, a man was about to take his dogs for a walk and decided to record them. Suddenly, the dogs started barking in the same direction and slowly moved toward it. Then they turned back to look at him, as if warning him to go inside. He grew scared because he had heard stories about a witch who haunts people during the day. He thought his dogs might be seeing her, since animals may notice things humans cannot. Frightened, he quickly left the house with his dogs. Horse-seeing jinn. On the 12th of April, 2020, a man was out for a horse ride in a remote area of Aspen, Colorado, USA. At first, everything was normal, and his horse was walking peacefully while he was filming, but then the horse seemed to sense a danger that he could not see. The horse stopped, its ears alert, as if it had noticed something ahead much bigger than itself, and it refused to move any farther. So he became convinced that his horse was seeing a jinn, since they are said to have the ability to see supernatural beings, and he quickly changed his direction. Phantom alert. A man went to hunt birds that were damaging his fields in Flagstaff, Arizona, USA, when suddenly one of his guard dogs began to bark. He turned on his camera and moved it around to show the surroundings, as there was nothing in front of them that could have triggered it. Confused, he later shared the footage on Instagram, where one commenter suggested that dogs can see invisible entities, so maybe a ghost was watching over them. Strange cat. This video was filmed by a woman living in Santa Cruz, California, USA, while she was spending time with her favorite pet cat. Suddenly, the cat's behavior turned strange. It was sitting on a stool, touching the empty corner of the window, and staring at it as if it were watching its prey, but the space was empty. After a while, the cat tilted its head and sniffed the wall, as if something were hidden inside it. Its behavior left the woman puzzled, and she began to wonder if her cat might be haunted. Ceiling stare. Linda Rose, a girl living in Bisbee, Arizona, USA, was doing her homework when her gray pet cat suddenly freaked her out, so she started recording. The cat was lying on the mattress with its eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling as if it were seeing something terrifying. But when she moved the camera toward the ceiling, it looked completely normal. She shared the clip on Instagram, claiming her cat was seeing a ghost, but viewers dismissed it, suggesting the cat had simply noticed tiny movements of pests, since cats have very acute senses. Reluctant dog. One night, a man told his dog to go into a room to sleep, but the dog acted very strangely. It stopped at the doorway and stared into the room, as if something was inside the room. It went in, then rushed back out and started growling at the room. When the man insisted, the dog tried again but quickly returned, clearly scared. The man became worried and decided they would not sleep in that room that night. Later, he showed the video to his neighbor, who said the house was built on a dump, which some people believe can be haunted by ghosts. Dogs sensing paranormal. 6 years ago in Mystic, Connecticut, USA, a man was checking footage from his pet camera. He saw his small dog suddenly become very alert and start barking, as if it had heard something strange. The dogs jumped onto the sofa and stared toward the window, like they were watching something move near the window. Then, a blanket on the couch slightly moved by itself, even though no one else was in the room. This scared the man. Because this place was built on an old graveyard, he started to believe that a restless spirit might be in his house. Spooky horse.
Oh, my bad.
One Sunday in Bozeman, Montana, USA, a man was filming his daughter riding her favorite horse in the paddock. Everything was normal at first, but suddenly the horse spooked and changed direction, even though the path looked clear. The horse backed away from the spot, looking at it closely from the side, as if something were blocking its path. Out of curiosity, the man shared the footage on TikTok, claiming that the horse had seen a specter.
Mommy!
Daughter's spirit.
What is it, Zoe?
On December 15th, 2011, a man in Juneau, Alaska, filmed his dog, Zoe, acting very strangely. The dog watched something around the room with its eyes and growled, even though the room looked empty. She went to the bedroom to check, then walked into the kitchen and stared at a chair, as if something unseen was sitting there. Zoe barked at the chair, walked around the house, and then finally calmed down and sat on the floor. The man believed that Zoe was seeing the spirit of his daughter, who passed away 3 years earlier, and that she had come to visit them.
Dude, she's looking over there again. What the heck?
Spirit on the stairs. This video came from a couple living in Cody, Wyoming, USA, who were relaxing on the couch after Christmas dinner when their cat suddenly freaked out. It started staring toward the stairs, like someone was stepping down slowly. The cat watched without blinking, then began to move cautiously, step by step, and placed its front paws on the backrest, still keeping its eyes fixed on the stairs. The couple were confused because they couldn't see whatever it was watching, and a chilling thought came to their mind that maybe their cat was seeing a spirit. Cat seeing cat's soul. A man living in Charlottesville, Virginia, USA, was filming his cat, which was sitting in a strange posture on the table and staring directly at him with its eyes wide open. Suddenly, the cat began to move its head, as if it was tracking something moving with its eyes. He was shocked because he had never seen his cat act like this before, so he thought that maybe it was the soul of his other cat, which had passed away a week ago, and that its spirit had come to visit the cat it had been so attached to. Stare of fear. A woman in Bangor, Maine, USA, filmed a strange moment with her dog. The dog's mouth was slightly open and its eyes were wide, staring directly at her. It looked like the dog was reacting to something disturbing, or maybe a ghost was standing between them, because it had never acted this way before. The dog would not stop staring, so the frightened woman locked herself in a room and waited for her husband. Later, the dog acted normal again, and her husband said it had probably seen a supernatural being. Terrifying hellhound.
Luna does not like when I go to work.
A man was heading out to his office early in the morning in Savannah, Georgia, USA, when his pet hellhound suddenly began acting strangely.
I'll see you later, Peppy.
The dog did not look right at all. Its mouth was half open, exposing its teeth, as if it were seeing some ghost in him, and it refused to let him leave. It kept growling while the man tried to calm it down. Later, he shared the clip on Instagram, where one of the commenters suggested that the dog might be possessed by some invisible force. But what do you think?
I'll see you.
Invisible disturbance. A man bought a dog from a pet store and filmed it on its first day at home in Moab, Utah, USA. The dog was lying on the mat when it suddenly turned its head to the right and lifted its ear, as if it had sensed something mysterious. Then it ran toward the door and started barking at nothing visible. He was shocked because his other dog had behaved the same way. Later, he read on Google that dogs are very sensitive to electromagnetic waves, so he believed some wave had disturbed it. Invisible energy.
The cat's freaking out.
8 years ago, a woman living alone in her Napa, California apartment was terrified by her cat's strange behavior. Its fur rose and its tail curled as it stared into empty space, moving slowly, step by step, as if stalking something she could not notice. The cat refused to look away, following an invisible path across the room. Watching it, the woman felt a chill. She became certain her cat was sensing an unseen energy that had suddenly entered her home. Haunted office. A man was working alone in an office in Rapid City, South Dakota. While he was focused on his work, he suddenly heard a beeping sound from the UPS. Startled, he got up, checked the buttons, and then sat down again. A little later, he heard another strange noise, like something had fallen on its own. His heart started beating fast. He was scared, but also curious to know what was happening. There, he saw a terrifying figure, but it did not appear on the security camera. Horrified, he ran outside and never went back to that office. Haunted facility. A security guard was working a night shift in a building in Boulder, Colorado. Suddenly, he heard a strange noise from inside, so he turned on his camera and went to check. At first, everything seemed normal. But as he walked through the lobby toward one room, its door suddenly opened by itself, as if someone was inside. He knew he was alone in the building. Terrified, he went straight home. Later, he showed the video to his supervisor, who said it might be the ghost of an officer who died there.
Oh, no.
Haunted house.
Oh, bless them.
A family in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, shared scary footage from their home's CCTV cameras. In the first video, they were watching TV when a glass was suddenly pulled from the man's hand and rolled across the floor. In the bedroom, a study chair moved by itself. On another camera, something unseen knocked on the door. But no one was there when the woman opened it. Later, a bowl fell from a kitchen shelf, and a wet floor sign suddenly toppled over, making the girl scream. In the study room, a chair slid to another table. These events convinced the family that their apartment was haunted. Disturbed by ghost. On July 28, 2023, a woman came home from university. As she walked in, she heard water running from a tap. She picked up the wireless CCTV camera, turned off the tap, and called her parents, but no one replied. She checked the kitchen and bathroom, and both were empty. She then turned off the tumble dryer. As she left the room, the TV in the other room turned on by itself. When she went to switch it off, the main lights suddenly went out, leaving only the Christmas lights on. As she tried to turn them back on, someone grabbed her from behind. She screamed, and the video ended, leaving everyone unsure what happened next.
For goodness sake, Mom!
Midnight possession. A woman felt a strange presence in her room for 3 nights, so she set up a CCTV camera. One night, while she slept, something invisible suddenly woke her. In the dark, an unseen force lifted her into the air by her legs and then dropped her back onto the bed. She was shocked and didn't understand what had happened. The next day, she watched the recording and was horrified. The video made her believe she might be possessed by a demon, and from then on, she never slept alone again.
Wait.
Open discussion. Just 2 months ago in Olympia, Washington, USA, a woman was filming her cat resting on the couch when it suddenly did something strange. The cat rose onto its hind legs, stretching its front paws into the empty air, as if it were touching something unseen. Its eyes followed an invisible trail up toward the ceiling, tracking whatever it was seeing. Nothing was there. No movement, no shadow, no sound, only the cat, locked on that spot like something was still there. Her grandfather had passed away only a week ago, and a thought crept into her mind. Could this be his spirit paying them a final visit? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching.